On this edition of the Newsmakers, claims Myanmar's military have committed crimes against humanity against the Rohingya. We ask whether the government is ignoring the accusations. Also on today's program, Syria's social media star. We look at Bana al-Abid's account of life in eastern Aleppo. Hello and welcome to the Newsmakers with me, Imran Garda. New figures from the United Nations show more than 10,000 Rohingya Muslims have fled from Myanmar to Bangladesh in the past month. The army has accused members of the ethnic group of carrying out attacks and has been conducting operations in Rakhine State, where many Rohingya live. Human rights groups and Rohingya activists accuse the army of carrying out widespread abuses, including ethnic cleansing, rape and torture. Aung San Suu Kyi won the Nobel Peace Prize for her fight for democracy in Myanmar. But since taking power, her ruling party appears to have done little for the persecuted ethnic group. Our newsmaker today is Aung San Suu Kyi, as we ask if she's doing enough to investigate those allegations.
The UN says they may be victims of crimes against humanity and has sent former UN chief Kofi Annan to investigate reports of abuses. The Rohingya Muslims are one of the most persecuted minorities in the world. Chased from Myanmar by the army, at least 10,000 of them have escaped to neighboring Bangladesh in the past month. They brought horrifying stories of gang rape, torture, and systematic killings. The Rohingya are a minority of about 1 million people. And despite living in Myanmar for generations, they're treated as illegal immigrants and denied citizenship. Up to 30,000 have fled their homes. Satellite pictures released by Human Rights Watch showing entire villages burnt to the ground. Many have also died while trying to flee to Bangladesh. And those who have managed to make it are now faced with the possibility of being sent back.
So it's up to the government of Bangladesh to put pressure on the government of Myanmar to return the situation to normal so that these Rohingyas who have arrived recently can go back in safety and with dignity.
The crisis has sparked Muslim protests in many Asian capitals, forcing Myanmar's de facto leader Aung San Suu Kyi to cancel her trip to Indonesia. The military has declared a part of Rakhine State an operation zone. The Mongdao area is mostly home to stateless Rohingya. Violence has flared up since the army began hunting the people who killed 9 border guards in early October. Thousands of people have been displaced, and there have been allegations security forces have carried out mass killings and committed rapes. The government and the army deny this. Hopes were high a year ago that the election of Aung San Suu Kyi, a Nobel Peace Prize winner, would help protect the Rohingya. But so far, her government has failed to act. Myanmar has been transitioning from military rule to a democracy, a fact welcomed around the world. But in the process, has the international community turned its back on the Rohingya? Christine Pirovolakis, The Newsmakers.
Well, joining me now from London is Ton Khin. He's the president of the Burmese Rohingya Organisation UK. Also in London is Win Naing. He's the chairman of the National League of Democracy in the UK. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Ton Khin, let me start with you. Let me ask you in a very straightforward way. Is Aung San Suu Kyi doing enough to investigate these claims and allegations of abuses?
Yes, totally not. She is not doing enough. Instead, she is covering up the crimes what military has been perpetrating in our northern Rakhine state. You can see international media have highlighted how women were raped and, burning down Rohingya houses. There are mass killings, mass rapes. About 35,000 Rohingya become homeless. So international media, UN and other medias have already highlighted, and Rohingya refugees who've been fled recently to Bangladesh, they have told to BBC and Reuters what's real situations happening. But Aung San Suu Kyi is denying that this is not true. These are not the right news. But we have seen clearly they locked down the areas.
And I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you too often, and I'm sorry I have to interrupt you, but we have a debate here, so I want to bring in Win Nang. Win Nang, you have Tun Khin saying there's mass killings, mass rapes, and it's not just him. You have the UN saying that the Rohingya may be facing crimes against humanity at the hands of the military. A UN official also said ethnic cleansing is being carried out. Is that true, Win Nang?
No, it's not true. The investigation committee, including the diplomats, have done the investigation, and they have visited the place where attacks took place, and then also they have interviewed the villagers, and also they interviewed the arrested people, and they also have interviewed the women from the villages, and they refused. The women refused that there were not any rape there. They have already told that. So they are the round messages sent to the international community. The investigation committee has been there, including the diplomats.
Okay, so let me ask you the question in a different way then, Win Nang. You have the Rohingya who are denied citizenship, denied healthcare and education. Their movements are curbed. There are these allegations of torture and rape, extrajudicial killings, houses burned down from UN officials, not just anybody. And then we have a situation where 500,000 people are internally displaced. 94,000 have fled to neighboring countries. That's from the UNHCR. And recently, more than 30,000 fled their homes, 10,000 across the border to Bangladesh. Would you at least accept that there's a problem here? Do you accept that there's a problem?
Yes. I agree that there's a recurring conflict in that area because they have attacked the 9 police outposts. 9 policemen were killed and 65 arms were taken away. There's a conflict there. I do not deny that there's a conflict, but we have to see why the basis of this problem, why this happened, how this happened, and who are doing this problem.
So let me ask you, do 600,000 Rohingya Muslims have to pay the price for a bunch of people who attacked and killed 9 soldiers?
Right. It is right. The diplomats have asked the villagers who burned down the houses, and the villagers told them that the houses were burned down by the attackers, not by the army people.
Hold on. I want to ask you this again. Do the 600,000 Rohingya Muslims or more, but those 600,000 who are displaced, do they have to pay the price? Are they responsible for the killing of soldiers?
No, I don't mean that. What I meant was more than 800 people attacked the police stations, and that's why this conflict happened. It doesn't concern with the 6.
Okay. Let's bring in Tun Khin. Tun Khin, so we
600 million people. It doesn't.
Sure.
Related to that.
Okay.
It did not relate to that.
Tun Khin, so we have.
We sympathize your people. We sympathize the Rohingyas. We are Buddhists. We treat the people with tender love and care.
Okay,
with metta.
Let me bring in Tun Khin.
Lord Buddha's policy.
Okay, so there we go. So Tun Khin, Win Nang says they sympathize with the Rohingya. They are Buddhists and they don't want to treat you badly, but that these allegations are false. When you hear that, how does it make you feel?
I appreciate what Dr. Winai said. They sympathize Rohingya. That is good. But the point here, what is happening on the ground, this is the real situation we have to look at. What Dr. Winai is saying that, they are attackers and, because of these attacks. But this is not the right way, the point here. The point here is we still do not know who are the attackers. That's why NLD government is not allowing international community to investigate what's happening to our northern Arakan state. This is the point here. And they locked down 7 weeks now, where children, women, and elderly men are starving to death. It's about 160,000 facing this situation. And, this is actually clearly, I should say, intentionally wiping out the Rohingya minority. This is the last stage we are facing genocide. You can see international medias, writers, everyone have writing about it. UN have clearly mentioned, BBC report, UNHCR officer already mentioned ethnic cleansing. You know, they are denying, including Dr. Win Myint is denying what's happening is fake news, and this is not the right way. This is, we have to look at, you know, BBC reporter and UNHCR officer, and they are complaining to everywhere. Whoever raising this issue, whoever writing up the issue, they are second media reporters and this.
Okay, so let's bring in Win Myint to respond.
It's a part of genocide.
Okay, so you've made your point. Win Myint, it's a genocide. Your response?
Yes. Yeah. No. I totally refuse it. I deny it. That is not the true story. The true story is that I have already told you, investigation committee, including the diplomats, they have visited the scene of crime, and they have questioned the villagers and the people who were arrested, and they have already showed what have happened, who did the crime. That's a reality.
So Win Myint, you believe that Aung San Suu Kyi is doing enough?
Yes, she is doing whatever she can. She has opened an office in the presidential place in Naypyidaw, and they are doing what you call there's a committee for this security committee there. They are recently opened a committee there.
Win Myint, let me ask you, Mr. Thun Khin, is he an equal citizen of Myanmar, being ethnically Rohingya? Is he an equal citizen of Myanmar in your eyes?
I know him very well. We work together for democracy. I don't have any personal conflict with him. But we work together, but we have to see the reality. What is going on there?
Okay.
What is the true? What is the reality?
My question is he an equal citizen of Myanmar? As an ethnic Rohingya, is he an equal citizen of Myanmar in your eyes and according to the law?
We have a constitution where the people, the Rohingya people can get the citizenship, but not the ethnicity. That's a difference, okay? They are not ethnic people. They are not ethnic people. We have our own ethnic people, but Rohingya people are not ethnic people. That's the difference.
So they're not
we treat the Rohingya people with tender love and care.
But they're not fully equal. You'll treat them with tender love and care, but they're not fully equal.
Yes. Because they can't get the ethnic standard, because they are not born in Myanmar. They are not originally from Myanmar. That's the main thing.
Thun Khin, so you
we
have...
love them, we treat them carefully.
So let me go back to Thun Khin. You have the people of Myanmar saying you're not really, citizens, and, you're ethnic Bengalis. And on the other hand, those people who are crossing the border, they're being told by Bangladesh, we don't want you guys. Sheikh Hasina saying they're not our problem. So where do you turn to if both governments don't want you?
The point I want to firstly want to ask, I will be appreciate if Dr. Win Myint can explain. We have worked together human rights and for democracy for many years, and Dr. Win Myint already have mentioned. If he can explain, I will be very appreciate. He invited me many events, many demonstrations on behalf of Rohingya organization UK. So he recognized Rohingya as an ethnic group. That's why I believe he invited me to the demonstration and events in London. We have many records on that. So why he is denying right now, this is very important point we have to look at. If he is really working for the human rights and democracy, this is not the right way. NLD leaders are the same way. They are, denying this crime against humanity against Rohingya. I should say, he mentioned about personally. It's not about personally. It's about I'm representing Burmese Rohingya organization UK. That's why we have been invited. But he's simply refusing everything. I'm quite suspect, I'm quite doubt what's happening. And, if you look at Rohingya history, I want to also ask Dr. Win Myint, in Burma radio broadcasting program, 1961 to 65, Rohingya language broadcasting program was there. It was General Ne Win who taken away Rohingya's ethnic rights, who stopped Rohingya language broadcasting program. And he was fighting with me together for the human rights and democracy to, step down this to fight this military regime. So why he's changing his mind now? I don't understand.
Before I throw this back at Win Nang, and we are running out of time, let me finally ask you, just to answer my question, are you equally disappointed with Bangladesh because they say they don't want anything to do with you?
Actually, what's happening right now, the situation is a serious situation. There is horrific, terrible situation where the people are fleeing from the country because of mass killing, mass rape. Their children are burning alive. Elderly men and women are burning alive. That's why, because of serious persecution, is at the last stage of genocide. What's happening to northern Arkansas state? That's why people are fleeing from the country. So we appreciate the Bangladesh government should provide temporary shelter. So it is not Bangladesh's responsibility, but Bangladesh government have to solve this problem, because Burmese government continuously saying they are illegal immigrants from Bangladesh. So Bangladesh government, they are saying illegal immigrant Bengali, but we have, the history have mentioned already, Rohingya have been living early 7th century AD in Arkansas state. So it is time Bangladesh government have to stand up to resolve this issue with UN and other Western government. This is really important time to resolve this issue.
I want to bring in Win Nang. Final question for you, Win Nang. A number of accusations against you. Tun Khin saying, why were you fighting for the Rohingya people in the past when Myanmar was under military dictatorship, and now suddenly you don't want to recognize them as an ethnic group? Why?
No, I'm not going to recognize. I'm recognizing them as Rohingya people, yes. But what I mean is the country of origin is Bangladesh. So Bangladesh government has also to take the responsibility of Rohingya people. That's what I mean. So they are currently in our country, but the Bangladesh government has to take the responsibility of Rohingya people also. That's what I mean. I work together. I'm a colleague and comrade with Tonkin. I'm very friendly with him. I have no conflict or no negativism with him. I agree with him. But what I mean is they cannot get the ethnicity status. That's what I mean.
Okay, and as we agreed upon earlier, the policy then is that they're equal but not really equal in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of the state of Myanmar. I don't want to lose your satellite feed as well because we lost Tun Khin. We are out of time. Thank you very much for joining us, Win Nang. And of course, our thanks to Tun Khin, who we just lost about 30 seconds ago. Thanks again, gentlemen. Syrian 7-year-old Bana Al-Abid has become a social media celebrity. More than 183,000 people follow her tweets from the heart of eastern Aleppo. And as Russian and Syrian forces step up their bombardment of the city once again, she's appealing to the world to help save her and her family. The Newsmakers' Yvette McCullough reports.
This is Bana Al-Abid. She's 7 years old and lives in eastern Aleppo.
I am sad. It's so bad.
Bana and her mother Fatme tweet about their daily life under siege. They began tweeting in September and have more than 190,000 followers. Their account gained even more international attention when they tweeted author J.K. Rowling.
I started reading your books. Thank you very, very much.
This week, their home was bombed. But some are sceptical about how authentic Bana and her tweets are. Bana's mother is afraid they'll be targeted by the Syrian regime for speaking out about the horrors in Aleppo. Bana is the latest child to become a symbol of Syria's war.
Stand with Aleppo.
To get the international community to care
This is the bombing.
and take action. Last year, 3-year-old Alan Kurdi, photographed washed up dead on the shore in Bodrum, Turkey, became the symbol of the refugee crisis. And in August, this video of Omran Daknish spread across social media. The Assad regime dismissed the video as staged. Is there an ethical dilemma in using children to humanise conflict? Are they being exploited? Or does it take shining a spotlight on child victims before anyone starts to care? Yvette McCullough, The Newsmakers.
Sami Hamdi joins me now from London. He's the editor of the International Interest magazine. Sami, good of you to join us. Thanks so much. 7-year-old Bana's account is very powerful. It's very moving. It definitely has an impact. First up, do you think it's her, or maybe it's her mother or someone else? And does that really matter?
I think it doesn't really matter. I think it's probably her mother guiding her. I think the Twitter account has had a huge impact in bringing the plight of the people of Aleppo to the global attention. And I think it's a good thing that such a Twitter account exists.
Mm-hmm. Do you maybe understand why some people are so suspicious nowadays of what comes online, what comes onto their Facebook feed and Twitter feed? When we had the story of the Aleppo toy smuggler, Rami Adham, in the end it turned out he wasn't as clean as he probably seemed. And even someone who was deemed a Daesh source, that guy Shami Witness, turned out he was just, some Indian kid living with his mother in Bangalore, right? So with all of these sort of accounts coming out, do you understand why any news that comes out, particularly on social media, whether it is something that wants to highlight the plight of the people under bombardment or anything else, you understand why people are so suspicious of what they come across on their feed?
Look, with the emerging of social media, it's true that in terms of credibility checks, they are much harder. These days, you can write anything on social media, and if you have enough friends and a big enough network, you can create virtually anything and make it current affairs news. Also, news outlets such as the leading news outlets, they're using social media as a source for news as well, in terms of trying to find that grassroots movement also. I think the problem with using this argument with regards to Syria in particular is that it detracts from the reality of what is going on. In terms of Bana, it doesn't matter where the source is coming from. Aleppo is under siege. Aleppo is being bombed. Children there are having to live through this war, and they are going to be a generation that is shaped by this brutal and bloody war. So I think in terms of the Bana case, rather than worrying about this argument as to who, what, where and when, the reality is, what message are we taking from this Twitter feed? The message is clear. Young children of 7 years old, 6 years old, 5 years old, children who, if you have children yourself, you will see you would never want your son or daughter to go through what Syria is going through. This Twitter account expresses that perfectly. By using a 7-year-old picture there on that Twitter account, the impact is clear.
Yeah, the
and
impact is clear.
The attention
the impact
of what's
might
happening
be,
to Aleppo.
Sure, sorry to interrupt you because we are running out of time. The impact might be amplified. Do you have any concerns ethically about that amplification? So whether it is Bana, who is alive and well, and hopefully, she will see better days and she will stop being under bombardment, but clearly she's being used as a symbol of the revolution, of people under bombardment. And then, of course, people use the image of Alan Kurdi, people use that image of Omran Daknish. Are there any ethical concerns that maybe the images of these kids are being exploited, particularly by us, the media, because we feed off this stuff, don't we?
As a general rule, I would agree with you. It is unethical to use children for any political cause or for any issues regarding war and the like. But the problem here is that when that applies when you take it out of context. Let's put it in the context of Syria. The pictures of Russian planes striking Aleppo has not moved the international community. The pictures of babies being pulled out of rubble has not moved the international community. The pictures of children lying dead on the streets has not moved the international community. The pictures of children telling cameras and showing the corpses of their mothers and fathers has not moved the international community. So my argument is, how dare anybody today say or try to take the moral high ground by accusing other people of using desperate measures in desperate times? Aleppo has been under siege. Syria is in civil war. And despite that, we're not any closer to a peace solution, to a political solution. If it takes a child to bring that political solution, I believe that the desperate straits in Syria have created the environment in which somebody like Benna has emerged, has appeared, this Twitter account. So I understand the whole ethical argument. I understand that people have concerns, but you must put this into context. Nothing has moved the international community. For the Syrians, it's time to try something new. And that's putting a 7-year-old girl in front of you and showing you her life. And if she dies in the conflict, it will be much more personal because people will have followed her stages of her life and it will be real. She is bringing the conflict to your homes. She is bringing the conflict for you to understand it, to see it first eye through her eyes. And I think that's extremely powerful. I don't necessarily agree that it would be the first measure to use, but I understand that circumstances as they are now have forced such a phenomenon to emerge.
Very passionately put. Sami, great to talk to you. Hope to have you on the program again. Sami Hamdi joining us there from London. You've been watching this edition of the Newsmakers with me, Imran Garda. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.